welcome to the Smyrna Card Studio. Today we're going to work on some wedding invitations, but this is a really nice card and you can technically use it for any other greeting card, thank you, birthday card by just making a couple of adjustments. Let's get started. First that we need to do is we are going to score. So I've already scored this one, but just for interest's sake, you're just going to put it down and you're going to score it right in the center. And once that is done, you're going to fold your card over and you're going to line up the sides as best as what you can. And you're going put down and you're going to use the bone folder and you are just going to flatten the card, and there you go, the first step of the card is done. So next up is we are going to add the first layer to the card, and for this, because this is already embossed, and again you can use paper that just have a design on with this. So I've already started with the Sharpie, and all I'm doing is I'm just going around and I'm giving it a little bit of a silver border. So I'm holding my Sharpie right sort of onto the paper. And I just want to grab another one, because there's one thing about the silver Sharpies that I have to say, if they lie flat, they don't work so well. So you have to keep them up right. Oh, where did I? Oh, here it is. So again, I'm just holding it like that and I'm pulling my Sharpie around. So this is something that you have to do careful and slowly, because you can slip very easily and then you can go quite a deep or go in wider than what you wanted. And especially with this ones that has the embossing, you will definitely, once you hit that embossing, it will go in a little bit deeper. When you've done that, just always check to make sure that you do have, or that you can see the silver border. There, it doesn't look like it's a lot, so I'm just going to go and I'm going to put it down again. Yep, and this looks good. A tip when you're working with cardstock and you want to layer it, but you don't want to use the dimensional glue dots, what you can do is, to get the illusion that it is definitely in layers, is when you add your glue or your tape or whichever you're using, don't go right up until the edge. Just go a little bit, leave some space around, and then once you have that, then it will give the illusion of there is, you know, that it is layers, that it's not all just one level or one dimension, I should say. Okay, I'm just going to eyeball this and let's hope for the best, like with the rest. Okay, it looks a little bit skew here at the bottom, but that's fine. It's handmade, so we are going to adhere that. So you see, you have the illusion that it is raised from the cardstock there. Next up is we are going to put down our ribbon, and the ribbon is going to go right through the center of the card, and we're going to fold it over because there's going to be a metal emboss. Oh my, look what I've done with this one. Oops, I've put the, oh seriously, some days I can just laugh at myself because there's nothing else I can do. I put the tape on the wrong side, so I'm going to come in and eyeball it again, and I'm just going to put that down, and then I'm going to try and remove this one here. Oh no, it's really stuck. Okay, and I'm just going to put it down on the opposite side, remove the backing of the Sookwang tape, and then just come in. So before I put that one down, I just make sure that it is more or less centered. And worst case scenario, you can always more or less measure, but then again, with my measuring skills, I don't always want to measure. It looks more or less like it is in the center. We're just going to come in and we are going to put it down. So again, we're going to cover up this join here with another metal emboss piece. And you don't necessarily have to do that. You can tie it, and you can maybe tie a bow or something yeah, as well, if you don't want to put the metal accent in the center. And then so from here we're going to add the next one, but before I'm going to do that, I'm just going to, the same as what I've done with this, I'm also going to outline this white, and I don't know if you can pick up, the same as with this is a shimmering, like a gray black shimmering. This is also a white shimmering. It has a little bit of a pearlescent or opalescent kind of shine to it if you move it around. It just gives it that little bit of extra. And just go around again with your Sharpie. You can use anything for this, silver paint if you don't have a Sharpie. And then the next, the same as with that, we're not going to add again our Sookwang tape right up until the tippy edge so that it can look like there is layers or that it is built up. And again, I'm just going to eyeball it and have it more or less in the center. Yep, looks like it's more or less in the center. And now our ribbon is double secure as well. So again, you have that illusion that there is some height between the two layers. This is basically it for our card, except we are going to do the corners. Maybe we must do the corners now, and then we can just do the metal embossing and add the metal embossing, and our card will be completed. So what we're going to do is they are going to put an insert in here with the invitation. They are going to have that printed. So when you need to have that, what you can do is you can measure the width of your strip that you have, or even, you know, you can decide on the size that you would like to have it. And then once you have that, you can just mark it. So I'm going to mark it on the back, and it has to be the same length now as the width that your strip is. And now of course I can't find a pen, I can just use the Sharpie. And just going to do that, and I'm going to cut from this edge or this corner over here to the corner over there, and there I have my corners. So once they have their insert in, that is what they are going to use. But you can do that is another way actually to do it, is just to have the squares, And then once you have your square, you can just cut it in half as well. So again, I'm just going to measure it on the back. Don't know why I didn't think of this before the time, because this is how I did it when I did quite a few of these ones. I just get some longer scissors, and you're just going to cut it, and you are going to cut through, and there is your next corner. And now I'm just going to do another one, and then I will have some extra corners. So yeah, this is an easy way to do that. There's another way that you can actually do it too. You can fold it, and then you can glue it in, and that way it works like a proper photo corner, where they can just slip it in. That was another option, but they wanted to have it like this so that they can actually glue this on top of the thing. So when you want to do it that way, that you glue it, so all you're going to do is you are going to fold, you decide on a width, and you're going to fold it over and flatten it, and then you are going to bring your opposite side over. Maybe cardboard's not the best to explain this, and you are going to bring it flush with that one, and you're going to cut it, and then once it's cut, you are going to glue those pieces down, your bottom pieces down, and then you have a place where you can actually slide it in. So that is how you make little photo corners. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trace a circle, and this is where I'm going to do a emboss line. And then after I've done that, and I'm working on the front of my pewter on a paper pad, and next is, as always, just going to trace the letters here, and I'm making the B a little bit wider, because when you print this for spacing, the M always looks closer to the and sign than what the M is, so that's why I did that. So once that is done, I'm going to remove my design. And the next step is we're going to be moving on to our soft surface, or our semi-soft surface. I'm going to place this again right on the mark, and I'm working on the back of the pewter now on my soft surface. And I'm going to retrace the line, and I'm using a Teflon tip tool for that. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to move around, and I'm going to work on my soft surface now, and I'm going to use my paper stump, and I'm going to flatten around just like we would do with each and every other thing, and flatten around on the inside as well. And then we're going to come around, and we're going to use our Teflon tip tool or your stylus, it doesn't matter, whichever you feel comfortable with, and we are going to refine. And we're refining on the outside as well as on the inside, just to get a nice, clean and crisp line. I think I will most probably come in with my with the other Teflon tip tool that has a narrower point. But what I want to do is I would like to go back, and now I'm working on the back of my pewter on a hard surface, and I'm just putting my Teflon tip tool in this line, and I'm retracing it slowly. And from there, going to flatten, and come in with my Teflon tip tool, and I'm going to refine again. So once this is done, we are going to move on to the lettering part. The first one I'm going to do is going to be the and sign, because I try always to work from the center outwards if I do lettering. And this is also why you need to mark. You can just change to a different Teflon tip tool. Go in, turn around, come back onto my hard surface, flatten around, and I might just try and see if I can find a thinner paper stump. Sometimes these thin ones is really useless, but in other times like this, it really comes in handy. And for this, I'm just gonna go in straight with my skinny Teflon tip tool, and I'm going to refine on both sides of the line. There you go, and the E is completed. We're going to do both the same with the B as well as with the M. And I just want to apologize if you see something moving here on the stall. It is so hot here by us now that I've got the overhead fan on. So that is what is making all these little marks here. So again, I'm going to turn around, and now it doesn't really matter whether you do the B first or the M first, as long as what you work out from the center towards the outside. So I'm first doing the line of the B, and I'm going to refine it. Oops. And then I'm going to turn around and do the rest of the B. I could have done this all in the same, because it's not really touching each other, but I've just learned from doing this a couple of times. I think this was the way that worked best for me. Okay, and turn around, and for this I'm going to use this skinny little one, and I'm going to come in with a Teflon tip tool, refine, and then I'm going to come in with my narrow one. You necessarily don't have to do this twice. You can go in right from the beginning with your narrow one, or your stylus for that matter. And next up is going to be the M. So we're going to do exactly the same. So for the M, I'm going to do my line first. And I'm going to flatten around. This thing is so wibbly wobbly. And refine. And refine. And then we're going to go back onto the hard surface. And for this next step, we're going to put our, whether you use your stylus or your Teflon tip tool, you're going to put it inside the line that you've just created, and you're going to start your line from there. So I'm only going to do the one around of the M, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to smooth it around, and I'm going to actually, you know what, I think I would like this one to go a little bit higher, this M. So I'm going to slowly, and I really work very slowly, push it up just a little bit higher, because it was almost like it was disappearing. And back to the front again. Oh, sorry, excuse me. We're going to go to the back again, and we're going to work on the soft surface. We're going to add our, or start with our tool inside the line from the M, and we're going to emboss the rest. Okay. I'm going to bring it around to the front on the hard surface, and we are going to smooth around, and this one has popped up a little bit as well, and I'm just going in with my this sharp point, or the skinny point one. And I have my lettering is all done. So what I'm going to do next is, and this is not necessary, you really don't have to do that, but because I've been doing it all along, I'm just going to redo it, do it with this one as well. I'm going to go in and I'm going to reline, and I'm working on the back of the pewter, and I'm working on a hard surface. And usually when I reline lettering and that, I would always make sure that I work on a towel, because you get a really smooth one. Usually I would work for hard surface on my MDF, except when it comes to lettering, then I always use a towel, because you really get a nice smooth finish with that. And I go in. Oh, that's a little bit tight there. Just follow the lines. You have to be careful when you do this, because you can slip very easily. And then come around to the front, and just going to flatten around. But it just really gives it a more finished look. That is when you can do that. Sometimes you don't have the ability to do that, especially when you do some cursive words, or where it's really skinny letters, then you can't always do that. Okay, so to speak, how do they always say, the writing is on the wall? So the writing for this is on the wall. So now it is just going to be finishing this all off. Actually, that looks a little bit too wide for me, that end now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my metal stylus, and I'm just going to squeeze that in. I find that if I want to squeeze in the lettering, the metal stylus definitely works better. And I think with this one too, I want to just bring this in a little bit more. There you go. Yep, that looks way better, because now it looks like it's got that little bit of a bend that it has there. Okay, on to the next step. For the background, seeing that it is their wedding, and hearts is going to be quite a bit of a theme in this wedding, I'm going to do a background, and I'm going to draw a couple of hearts, and I'm working on a hard surface on a tile, actually on a hard surface on the front of the pewter, but I actually think I'm going to come in with my MDF, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to add the hearts at random spots here in all directions. And once I've done a few of these, I will just start filling it in. So, and let's do a bigger heart there. And some of this will be cut out as well, so you're not even, well, all punched out. And let's do some small hearts here. Can do a heart this way. Now that all the hearts is in, the next step is for the ones who follow me, you know, I do this background where I do a couple of designs and then I just fill in the rest, and this is exactly what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to come in, and in between the hearts I'm just going to start filling in with lines and follow that until everything in between has been covered, so there is no or nothing that does not have a mark on. And this is something that you can always think about. You don't necessarily have to do something like this. You could have used a texture plate to get a background on here. You can use what else can you use? You can use texture wheels to get a background on here. There is so many different ways that you can do. You can use the brass brush. That usually gives a nice satin look for a background as well. And yeah, so I'm just going to continue on, and I'm going to fill up all the little gaps in between the hearts. Next is patina. So for this piece, all I did was I have run strips through an embossing folder that's got hearts on, and we're going to cut the accent for the inside of the card from these ones. So first, like always with faux patina, we are just going to clean, and then we're going to wipe it dry. And clean it off with the alcohol swab and wipe it dry. And next step, like always, is with faux patina, we're going to color it in, and then we're going to wipe it off again. Let's get going. Next up is our metal embossing accents. So when we did the paper with the embossing on, as well as this cardstock, we didn't glue it right up until the end, so that it just gives the illusion that it is layers and it's stacked layers. However, we can't do this with the metal embossing piece because it's going to bend. So I've already gone ahead and I have added some cardstock to this, and I've just used Sookwang tape. And next is I'm just going to center this. Seriously, I need to talk and concentrate at the same time. It's very difficult for me. It looks as centered, I think, is what I am going to get it. And I'm going to punch it out. And it's a little bit more difficult with the cardstock and everything. So I'm just going to make the marks there, push it out, and I will just cut the rest off. So it's really or fairly easy to do this when you don't have the cardstock behind, but I did. And let's try again, because sometimes if you just keep on going, it does that. It helps. Oh, come on. Yeah, these punches, you know, it doesn't want to go in there. Let me just grab something here. I think sometimes I must call my this YouTube rather how not to do things rather than how to do it, because it's like sometimes it just everything works. And this, because with these I would say it was really about a 50-50 situation. About 50% of them I was able to punch out, 50% I was not able to punch out. So, and this is now one of the 50% that I was not able to punch out. Okay, let's see if we try again. Yeah. No, I just think this is one of the ones that is going to be cut out. It's pretty frustrating when things like this happen, but you know, it's happening and it's there. Okay, so let's go around. And just cut. So sometimes even if you have all the tools, you can't always use the tools because it's not always feasible to use all the tools. So I just make it as round as what we can. Yep, looks good. And next we are going to adhere that to the center of the white cardstock. Just put it on here and see. Now that I have the Sookwang tape on, we can move on and just taking it off, and we are going to put it as close in the center as what we can. And there you go, and it's going down. This was the one thing that they said was they want handmade cards so that everybody can know somebody was thinking of them while they make the cards. So okay, so that is down. And the next step is going to be the accent there. So what I've done, I've gone ahead and I've sketched a heart over here, and now I'm just going to cut that one out, and then we will add that to the where we have overlapped the ribbon, which will leave a nice little spot. And we won't see the ribbon or the glue that or the Sookwang tape, at least I should say, that we have used for the to adhere the tape the ribbon with. Some days really my words doesn't want to come. Okay, and this one luckily already have the Sookwang tape on, so we don't have to go out and put Sookwang tape on again. I'm just going to, this one is like, I'm going to follow this heart here at the bottom, and we're going to remove the Sookwang tape. And we're going to glue the heart right over there where we have joined the ribbon. And that is going down. And as always, just make sure that everything, especially the heart, because there is a sharp point here. So, and I've already sealed this, the heart as well as the sort of the monogram. And the reason for that is just because when I work with white, I tend to always seal before I work with the faux patina on the white. And the reason is just that sometimes the marker can still give off a little bit of black, and I don't want to have that onto the white because it's really difficult to get it off. So I'm just giving this, you don't really need, I polish it before the time, but I'm still just going over just to make sure that it's adhere well. And the card is all done. So all that they're going to do is they're going to add their invitation in here, and then they are going to glue the 4 little, oh, where's my other corners? Oh, there they are. And then they're just going to glue some leftover corners, the corners on there. So yeah, a fairly easy card. And our wedding invitation card is done. So the card itself is 6 by 6. We've added some embossed paper. This is store-bought embossed paper. We've added another shimmering white. I don't know if you can pick it up on there. And the backing is, the back card is also definitely, it's got a little bit of a shimmer. So it's the same kind of paper family, I should say. And then we've added the ribbon as well before we added that. And then we have our monogram, or with their initials on. When we open the card, then we had this little heart or another metal embossing accent just to cover up the joint where we have joined them. So, you know, when you look at cards, run with an idea, or if you see a card, think about different ways that you can do it. So I've done this one. It's very similar. This one doesn't even have metal embossing. So again, it's the same concept. We have our embossed paper. This embossed paper I've ran through my cuttlebag. I have layers over here, and I just did the ribbon slightly different. And just for interest's sake, so when we made these little corners here, once the invite is going to go in there, what I've done in this card is I've just added this so that you can see more or less how it will look when you make this corner. So, and this is glued down. So as always, thank you so much for spending time with me in the studio today. And always remember, the world of reality has its limits. The world of imagination is boundless.